The Bell from Hell. Stories from the Witch Cafe. The Bell from Hell. Welcome one, welcome all, to the only place in town to get a story and a coffee. I can tell you where the coffee comes from, but please don't ask me where the stories and characters come from, cause I basically have no clue. Some say it's the aroma of freshly brewed coffee that inspires me. Others say I'm able to tap into the endless memory streams pouring out of the infinite kettle that is the multiverse. I think it's a little bit of both. This one comes from the grains I observed at the bottom of my espresso cup a few days ago. It kind of resembled a bell, and so I'm calling this one The Bell from Hell. Toby and his sister Tina were always up to no good. And this time they snuck into the old overgrown junkyard that many claimed was haunted. Despite the rumors, the teens played in the rusty wrecks, honking horns, kicking windshields, and of course, scaring each other to hell. "It's fun here," Toby said. "It is," Tina agreed. As the night wore on, Toby hid in the trunk of an old sedan with the intention of scaring his sister. But Tina followed a trail he unwittingly left and, "Rawr!" scared him instead. Toby cursed, and Tina ran off promising she would get him again. She quickly rushed to the old compactor and hid in a half-squashed station wagon filled with a strange black fog. That's odd, she thought, and didn't think any more of it. But she probably should have thought a little more of it, since strange black fog isn't exactly an omen, as you know from my previous stories. Anyhow, Tina waited patiently in the back seat. When an hour passed, she began to worry. Slowly, she craned her head to peek out the window when... Rah! Toby slammed the station. Tina nearly jumped out of her skin, hitting her head against the ceiling of the half-crumpled car. Toby couldn't help but laugh, and as he laughed, he looked down into the churning black fog and saw a bell. A strange-looking iron bell, unlike any bell he had ever seen before. "Will you look at this?" he said, holding up the bell, examining the craftsmanship. Then he grabbed a stick from the ground and clanged the bell stupidly. Clang, clang, clang. The ominous ring echoed through the abandoned junkyard as the black fog thickened and swirled around them. But before they could say anything about the strange fog, the compactor came to life. Whirr! Tina felt her heart fall into the pit of her stomach, and she screamed in horror. Toby dropped the bell, grabbed her hands, and yanked her out just in time. Breathlessly, they watched the station wagon as it creaked and groaned and shattered into scrap. There was a long, tense silence as they wondered what had given sudden power to the otherwise rusted and broken compactor. Just then, the bell rang again, this time behind them. Tina exchanged a look with Toby and swallowed a growing thickness in her throat. They turned slowly to face nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing but the swirling fog. It was probably just their imaginations. Or was it? For just as they released a collective sigh, the bell rang once again, and something suddenly materialized out of the fog. Within moments, they were face to face with a wraith. The wraith instantly grabbed Toby by the neck with one arm and lifted him high in the silvery moonlight, his feet dangling, his arms flailing, his lips quivering with fear. Tina gasped and stumbled back to her haunches. The wraith smashed Toby against the ground with a powerful thud. He raised a rusted wheel wrench and proceeded to bludgeon his head to scrap, blood and gore splattering everywhere. Then the wraith turned to face Tina with his creepy bell and dead eyes. Covered in her brother's warm blood, Tina screamed until her lungs gave out and waited for the bell to toll. Now, what the siblings didn't realize was that they had entered a kind of dimensional pocket that had brought them to another world. See, there are these pockets or holes in the world that lead to all kinds of dark places. Places that defy reality. Dark places that make all our combined depictions of hell seem like a flower garden. But that's another story for another dark and creepy night. Let's just say that for Toby and Tina, death was not an escape.